Friends, when this labyrinth of light, this subject was told to me, I was a little confused. But the moment I placed this theme into my life, into my work, into my background, I understood it's a very powerful message we are going to give. Labyrinth of light, of course, it talks about various situations, various disturbances, complexities, the maze, as we have discussed, that leads to a light. It's generally dark, it's generally confusing, and from there it starts. In my own life, since childhood, I was a bit of a person, who didn't have proper school education, proper college education, because of the fact that my father, known to be a Gandhian magistrate in Bihar, had 9 children. So he put me on to class 7th while I was only 9-year-old. That's how it is. Subsequently, school, college, teaching, which was my main ambition, it went on. And finally, I landed up being a police officer, reluctant cop, as people call me. And then the journey started. I'm not going to talk about my journey. I'm just going to talk about what all I felt, what all happened to me. In 38 years of social work, part of it you have seen just now, 34 years of policing, and 3 years I happened to be the chairman of Child Rights Commission. Law and order, crime, safety, security, for whom? Whose law and order? Whose crime? Whose problems? Whose issues? This always was an issue uppermost in mind, because the police or the government, in my opinion, it is created for the people who deserve it, the people who really want it. And that is where the problem started, because India's criminal justice system, as we see it today, is something which is archaic, although changes have been made. 1857 was first war of independence, and following first war of independence, 1861, Indian Police Act was created. Alongside Indian Police Act, we had trinity of laws, IPC, CRPC, Evidence Act, which is called now BNS and BNSS. And these laws were created primarily to subjugate India, to keep India under subjugation. Somehow these laws have still remained, still there in force. So a police officer who has the task, the daunting task of creating safety, security, help those people who are supposed to be looked after, is not an ordinary task. It was a very big task. Now, friends, in the larger scheme of things, I would like to refer to the Constitution of India. The preamble of India's Constitution, as you know, it talks about sovereignty. It's a loaded expression. Socialist, secular, democratic republic. Each word is very important. It applies to all of us. Today, India's constitution has become the most powerful document. It's a blueprint for our future. It is what really retains the country in its sanity. We talk about justice, social, economic, political. We talk about liberty, liberty of thought, expression, belief, and worship. We talk about equality, equality of status and opportunities. And we finally talk about integrity of India, and we talk about unity of India. Each word is so very important. In the constitutional framework, friends, if you look at what's happening in the country, and particularly in the government, in the criminal justice system, in India's policing, India's law and order, it is something, which requires a much deeper examination. Because on the one hand, we have got a criminal justice system which is archaic, which has not yet changed that much as we need to change it. Some changes have taken place recently in these laws I refer to. But these changes still, do they really reflect the ethos, the preamble, and the articles of India's constitution? That's the question to be asked. In my opinion, as a practitioner for 34 years, I didn't find it that much reflecting, that much adhering to the tenets of India's constitution. On the one hand, we have got social legislations, something very interesting. The social legislations of India, the laws that concern children, women, disabled, elderly, socially deviant, poverty alleviation, the environment, these laws, which we prefer to call social legislations, they appear to be far ahead of time. In fact, as you know, this country in India, presently we are in the midst of national education policy. In the national education policy, there is a figure. 32.2 million children happen to be out of school. They happen to be out of school because they are socio-economically deprived groups of children. When we talk about child labor in the country, there is a particular figure, globally speaking, there are 160 million child labor. 160 million child labor, one would like to know how many of them happen to be in India. India's record, sir, in respect of sustainable development goals is not that all glowing. Because so far as poverty is concerned, hunger is concerned, education, health is concerned, variety of other parameters of sustainable development goals, we have yet to arrive, we have yet to achieve those situations. The latest report from United Nations report 2025, which talks about SDG, out of 169 countries that have reported about their progress in SDGs, India happens to be 99. A country which happens to be third largest economy, a country which happens to be so powerful, we are third or fourth largest military power also. Such a country has no business to be 99th in the Sustainable Development Goals ranking, and 130 out of 193 countries in human development indicators. That is where the problems arise. We have to really change ourselves to achieve, finally, what we are looking for in 2047. When India turns 100 years as an independent country, and we are supposed to become a truly developed country. When we talk about development, friends, the development has to be on many ways. On the one hand, yes, we are a very powerful country. Economically, we are growing very fast. India is presenting world's largest, fastest growing economy. Our manufacturing, our infrastructure, starting from that point to, let's say, the AI of the country, they are all going very fast. In fact, the Prime Minister of India had referred to just now that 12 billion transactions took place in UPI in just 1 month. It's a huge number. When we talk about the growth and the progress of the country, India has really progressed tremendously. There is no doubt about it. But that contradiction comes. That contradiction, why such a country which has grown so much, which is growing so fast, has, on the flip side, these kind of problems that I'm talking about. This is something which I thought I'll talk about. Friends, when we talk about India's social sector, about which I'm going to speak very briefly, because social sector of India is actually a neglected sector. We talk about health, education, poverty alleviation, we talk about environment. We talk about children and women, disabled, elderly, and variety of those people who are supposed to be supported by the government because our constitution, our welfare state requires it. Social sector is the third important sector of India's developmental process. India's government is very strong, very powerful. What we have done as a democracy is unparalleled. India's government, on the one hand, the democratic institutions from panchayat to parliament, the bureaucracy of India, to which I belong, to which Mr. N.K. Singh belongs, the bureaucracy and the civil service of India, from Patwari and policeman to Prime Minister, because Indian Prime Minister is like a CEO. They're very powerful, very strong. What is happening, what is being done is beyond imagination. Decidedly, India is doing the best in the world in many ways. India's economy, as you know, our economy has grown so well, we are doing so well. But at the same time, there is a role to be played by the social sector, the voluntary organizations. India has nearly 3.7 million volunteer organizations, and they have a role to play. Wherever there are gaps, where there are problems, the volunteer organizations are supposed to join hands with the government, they are supposed to join hands with the corporate. Only when we are able to work together, let us say, 3.7 million volunteer organizations and variety of other bodies, institutions, and those people who are working for social sector of India, when they join hands with the government, with the democratic institutions, with the bureaucracy of India, when they join hands with the huge economic power, India's top level to middle level to lower level, business houses, what they're trying to do to improve and to bring the economy of India to that part, that position, the real change will come. These points, friends, I'm referring because, in my opinion, when we talk about the labyrinthine, we are really talking about these things also. All these points are very much part of our progress, our work that we are trying to do. And in Sustainable Development Goals, I would like to particularly refer to the last goal, the goal 17, which talks about the collaboration. The collaboration of partners. The collaboration of partners, the three broad partners of Indian developmental process to bring us to the point where we become truly Viksit India, truly developed India in 2047. The government in all its forms, the economic sector, the market economy in all its forms, and social sectors, they have to work in a seamless fashion. For today's discussion, for today's talk, I would like to just mention that any person for that matter, someone like me, someone like you, someone like all these people sitting here, the seamlessness of a person is very important. We work in different compartments. We are into silos. Working in different compartments doesn't mean that we are compartmentalized in our personality. We are the same person individually. We have to have our overall philosophy of life. We have to understand basically that whether we work as a police officer, we work as an IAS officer, we work as a social worker, we work as a student or a faculty or a teacher, all of us have one main issue to be seen, that individually, who are we? How do we experience the world around us? The world around us, we have to experience, we have to work with it, and we have to feel and endear ourselves. Youth are sitting here because this particular day is for the youth. I think this TED Talk is primarily for the youth of this celebrated school. And they need to understand that ultimately it's empathy, it's compassion, its ability to relate to the people of India, its ability to relate to those people who happen to be downtrodden, who happen to be disadvantaged, who happen to be not in that position to come up by themselves. That ability defines and should define the role of India's youth. Friends, we are at a particular point of time today. We are at a crossroads where the issues like that I have tried to discuss, they are very important. But there are changes also. In my experience, seamless experience, when I was able to work in the criminal justice system, I also worked in the juvenile justice system, which talks about children. I had an opportunity to work with social legislations of India, as I mentioned. On the one hand, we have got social laws of India, which are far ahead of time. On the other side, we have got the criminal justice system, which is behind the time. These are the kind of contradictions which create problems for people like us. But then we have to live with it. We have to get the best out of it. So the only call I would like to give to all of you, to the youngsters sitting here, that try and associate yourself with these kind of people who are not exactly able to gain and be partner to the progress of this great nation that we are. And there has to be some kind of undivided, seamless approach towards life, no compartmentalization. That's all I would like to say. Thank you very much.